Everybody, sorry it's been such a long time since I've put a video out, but obviously now that we're in lockdown, got a bit more time on my hands. And this morning I was doing a water change and it dawned on me that it's been a while since I've done a video and I've got the chance. So the only unfortunate thing is that at this point it's midday in Yorkshire in England, and we've got bright sun, well, fairly bright sunshine, a bit cloudy at the moment, but there's a lot of glare and I can only apologise. But yeah, just done a 50% water change on this aquarium, so things are a little bit murky. The fish are a little bit skittish because they're obviously cleaning under substrates, that type of thing, just as you know yourselves, unnerves them. But as you can see, Herman's hiding in his corner. Two of his females are just there vying for his attention, and then all the rest are hiding down there in that corner. The corridors don't care, they just crack on with it. But the big thing that I wanted to talk about today is what I do with the 200 odd litres of water that comes out of there every week, and I don't just pour it down the drain. I don't like to waste anything, so a lot of it goes over here behind me in the garden. So I'll take you out there and explain what I do with it. Probably most of you know that the nitrogen that's in the water that we change is good for plants, because they do like nitrogen, do like potassium. So all these tubs and buckets get filled, and then with that watering can I water all these plants and pots. So I'll take you out there. There's a bit of a glare, sun's gone in a bit now, but basically fish and flowers is my passion. So all these tubs and pots and everything like that is where the water goes, and like I said before, obviously I have to substitute some of that with potassium as well to create flower growth. The only thing I have to be careful of is a lot of these pots and tubs that are sort of scattered about, that don't look like they've got much in them. Let's say we've got some here. These contain dahlias. Now dahlias are quite a nice flower, but what I found is that when I've been putting loads of nitrogen on, they've really got big and taken over. So I'm gonna have to think twice about how much nitrogen goes on them. But in that pot there is an apple tree, and it's flowered for the first time this year. My daughter planted that as a seed when she was, I think she was 7 or 8, and she's 20 this year. So that's a proud moment to get that blossom. We're hoping that we'll get some fruit off that. That pine tree, she grew that as well. I keep that in a pot so it doesn't take over the garden. But obviously all these types of plants love nitrogen, so that's where it all goes. I'm going to take you out to the front. So we'll just come down the decking area. Sorry, it's a little bit untidy out here. So what I've got out front is, we're north facing out front. That's Baildon over there in West Yorkshire, and I've created these cloud trees out of conifers, so they thrive with nitrogen as well. Obviously a bit of potassium, but all the water that comes out of the aquarium, majority of it comes here, because it's easy enough to pour onto these. And then also this Christmas tree, which we decorate at Christmas, that thrives off it. The rhododendron, because it's quite acidic, that likes it as well, and the forest flame. So yeah, I just thought I'd just give you an insight as to not just what happens with my fish keeping, but also what goes with the byproducts of it, and hopefully for those that don't do it, maybe it'll be useful to you. Just while we're out here, it's hard times at the moment for people. I've been locked down for a good few weeks now, so has my wife. She works for an airline, so scary times. I'm in the building trade, so the big problem for me is materials, that type of thing, and then being quite active in my job. I've been gardening, as you can probably tell, but it's not such a big garden. But luckily here we've got access to these woods, and these woods run from that point there all the way right across for quite a few miles over to there, and I can get into them woods fairly quickly and go for a good walk and not come across anybody. So that's been a blessing. Go back round now, see if we can just have another look at the fish. I'll talk a little bit more about them, because that's what more people want, I think. No, they're still hiding. Oh, can you just see Herman now? He's just popped out a little bit. He's quite skittish for a male. They tend to be you know, the females in my aquarium tend to be a bit more bossy than the males. Well, this male particularly, he does hide readily from anybody, particularly strangers that come in. But we know that they're cave dwellers anyway, the Frontosas. So, just a little story on the fry. You can see that I don't know if you can pick that up or not, but I have got some fry growing out down here. These are still quite young. Some of them are hiding behind the rocks because they've had a 50% water change as well. So it's just made them a bit nervous. But what I'll try and endeavour to do is take another video in dimmer light, and we can give you a better insight to what's going on in the aquarium. And also I'd like to talk about the filtration system that I've changed.